All right, thank you all so much for attending this session. This is the Mobile Housing Authority Housing Choice Voucher Program Home Ownership Option presentation. We've had a lot of families interested in purchasing a home, and we thought it would be good to host a presentation where we share the home ownership option that is available under the Housing Choice Voucher Program. And so we're going to walk through tonight's presentation, and hopefully this will be pretty clear and you'll be able to see, in fact, how the program works and how the option works, and determine whether or not you're eligible, and if so, how you should move forward. Okay, so we'll first just start off with what is the Housing Choice Voucher Program, or the HCV program. The HCV program is the federal government's largest program for assisting low-income families to afford decent, safe, and sanitary housing in the private marketplace. Okay, participants are able to find their own housing, including single-family homes, townhomes, and apartments. The participant is also free to choose any housing that meets the requirements of the program and is not limited to units located in subsidized housing projects such as public housing. Now, this is the HCV program, and for the most part, it's used as a rental assistance program. In other words, we provide financial assistance to help individuals who qualify for the program with their rent. Okay. However, within this program, there is an option, as we've said, for participants to convert their rental assistance to home ownership assistance. Okay, so what is the home ownership option? This allows eligible participants the option to convert the voucher assistance that is normally applied to rent to be applied to a mortgage payment when a participant purchases a home. Participants are still able to find their own housing, including single-family homes, townhomes, and condominiums. Of course, you can't purchase apartments, so obviously that does not apply to apartments. Okay, it only applies to single-family properties, or to one-unit properties, I should say, which include townhomes, single families, and condominiums. The participant is free to choose any housing that meets the requirements of the program, just as they were under the rental assistance program. Okay. What does the housing assistance payment, or the HAP, assist with under the home ownership option? As you may be aware, when you find a rental housing under the HCV program, as is typically utilized, the assistance that we provide to help with the rent is called the housing assistance payment, or HAP. That's generally sent to your landlord under a rental situation. Under the home ownership option, the housing assistance payment assists with all aspects of the mortgage payment, including the principal and interest on the loan, the property taxes or your real estate taxes for your home, and the homeowner's insurance. These are commonly known as PITI, okay? Principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. That usually makes up the totality of your mortgage payment. And we will assist with the entirety of your mortgage payment. The HAP assistance under the home ownership option is for 15 years when you secure a mortgage for 20 years or longer. So most mortgages are 15 or 20 years, or 30 years, I should say. Most people choose a 30-year mortgage because it provides a longer period to pay the loan off and hence makes the monthly payment less. Okay, so when you choose a mortgage that is 20 years or longer, then we will provide assistance under the home ownership option for 15 years. HAP is provided for the entire time of the mortgage for a disabled household. So if you're a disabled household, you don't have to worry about the assistance ending after 15 years. It will continue through the entirety of your mortgage term. Okay, so that's how the housing assistance payment, or the HAP, works under the home ownership option. Now, who is eligible to utilize the home ownership option? Well, as you may have figured out by now, it says an option, home ownership option. So you're not required to obviously use this home ownership component of the HCV program. So if you are a new admissions to the HCV program, you were pulled off of our wait list, or you were referred to us by a fellow agency where we have for one of our special program vouchers, but you're brand new to the program, you are eligible to exercise the home ownership option. Or if you are an existing HCV participant, meaning you're currently on the program as someone who is renting a property and we're providing assistance. So if you are a new admissions to the program or an existing HCV participant currently receiving voucher assistance, and you're in good standing with the program, then you are eligible to utilize the home ownership option. Okay, and what must you do? Existing and new HCV participants must, very first thing is you have to be a first-time home buyer. A first-time home buyer is defined as anyone who has not owned a home in the last 3 years. So if that's you, you're considered a first-time home buyer. You also must have a good rental history, okay? You must attend and complete a pre-assistance housing counseling program from a HUD-approved housing counselor. Okay, so you have to receive home ownership counseling and complete the home ownership counseling. You usually get a certificate of completion once you have successfully completed the home ownership class. Okay. You, in addition to that, have to meet specific income requirements in order to exercise the home ownership option. You also have to meet specific employment requirements if you're going to exercise your home ownership option. However, the employment requirement does not apply to elderly or disabled families. An elderly family is a participant who is 62 or older and in our program. You don't have to meet the employment requirement. And then the last requirement here is that you have to contribute a minimum of 3% down payment of the purchase of the property, of which 1% must come from the family's personal resources. So in our program, to utilize this home ownership option, to convert your rental assistance, which goes to pay your rent, to the home ownership option, which then would apply your assistance to a mortgage, you have to put down 3% on the purchase price of your property. Okay. Now you can get that from other sources like down payment assistance. That's not a problem. Okay, to make up that 3%. However, HUD does require under this program that you have to have 1% of your down payment of the purchase of your property, the purchase price of your property, 1% of that has to come from your own family's resources. Okay. So if you are not currently a participant or have not been newly admitted to the HCV program, then you are not eligible to utilize the homeownership option. You must be either a current participant in good standing or a newly admitted participant to our program. Okay? So that's the requirement in order to be considered for the home ownership option. If you are one of those two, you're brand new to the program or you've already been on the program, then these are the other requirements that you'll have to satisfy. Be a first-time home buyer, have a good rental history, complete a home buyer's class provided by a HUD-approved housing counselor, meet specific income requirements, meet specific employment requirements, unless you're a disabled or elderly family, and have 3% down payment for on your purchase price, of which 1% must come from your own resources. Okay. Now, what are the income requirements and employment requirements? So let's look at that. What are the requirements to be eligible participants to? You must have in income 2023 minimum income of $14,500 a year. And this is for all non-welfare income participants. 2023's minimum income requirement is $14,500 a year. If you're a disabled family, the minimum income requirement is $10,968 a year. So that's the minimum income requirement. The maximum income requirement are whatever the normal HCV program income limits are for your household size. So of course, a one-member household family, just one person in the family, that income limit is going to be less than if it were 5 people in your family, right? But whatever the program income limits are for the household size, that's the maximum income you have to have or you can have in order to participate in the program. Okay. So that's the income requirements, minimum and maximum. Now, what are the employment requirements? Okay. So you must be a full-time employment. You must have full-time employment. This equates to not less than 30 hours per week or 2,000 hours per year. Okay, that is what is considered full-time employment. So you have to have full-time employment and you have to continuously be employed for the past 2 years prior to the start of the homeownership assistance option. Okay, so those are the 2 employment requirements: full-time employment and continuously employed for the previous 24 months before the homeownership assistance option starts. Okay. Now, if you are elderly, over 62, or you're a disabled family, the employment requirement does not apply. So hopefully that's clear. What are the requirements for the properties to be eligible? So let's say you've done the first part and we've determined that you are qualified. You make more than $14,500 a year. You are within the income limits. You have been working full-time for the past 2 years. You've completed your housing counseling, right? And now you're ready to move forward with getting or exercising your homeownership assistance, okay, option. And so you start looking for a property. So here are the requirements for the property to be eligible. Number one, it has to be a one-unit property. That's a single-family home, a townhome, or a condominium. This also includes manufactured homes. That's number one. Number two is the property that you select must be inspected and pass an HQS inspection by a PHA inspector, meaning the Mobile Housing Authority inspector will have to come out to inspect your home, and it must pass our requirements. That's the second requirement. Whether the home is brand new, it was just built, or whether it was built 40 years ago, we are still required by federal requirements to perform an inspection on the property by one of our inspectors, MHA inspectors, and it has to pass our HQS standard. Okay? In addition to that, the family will have to have the property inspected by an independent inspector, not a Mobile Housing Authority inspector, but an independent property inspector that you hire, that you as the family pay, and that provides the report to you. Okay? That's the third requirement. The property must be independently inspected by an inspector designated by the family. This is, as you will find out when you go through the home ownership course, this is a standard practice when you purchase a home, is to have the home independently inspected by a property inspector. Okay, so HUD requires that you get that done. We will complete the property inspection by an HQS inspector. And then, of course, if all of that passes, then that property is deemed eligible. All right, guess what? We're almost done. If you are eligible, you satisfy these requirements, and are interested in converting your rental assistance to the home ownership option, here are the next steps. So you've listened to this presentation. You've determined, yes, I meet all those requirements. I make more than $14,500 a year. I meet with, well, obviously I'm in the income limits. I've been working continuously for the past 2 years. I'm full-time employed. I want to move forward with this. What do I do now, Mr. Watkins? How do I move forward? Here it is. Here's the answer. Okay. So when this is over and you go, okay, what do I do next? Here's what you do next. You complete your home ownership counseling. That's the very next thing that you will do if, in fact, you've determined that I'm eligible and I am indeed interested. Then you're going to contact one of the home ownership counselors that is in the next slide. You're going to get involved with one of their classes. You're going to complete your home ownership counseling. When you complete that counseling, they're going to provide for you a certificate of completion. Okay? Once you have that certificate of completion in hand, then you're going to go online to the Rent Cafe, which is, if you've been a part of our program, then you know what Rent Cafe is. That's the participant portal where you go to do updates. You do your annual recertifications through there. That's where you initially applied when you first came onto the program, if you're brand new to the program. Right? So you're going to go on to Rent Cafe and you're going to complete an interim application. That interim application is going to allow you to add attachments. You're going to attach your certificate of completion demonstrating you have successfully completed the HUD required homeownership counseling with your interim application. Now, in Rent Cafe, that's the button that simply says report a change. You're going to hit that button that says report a change, and then you're going to update your income information, family composition, and then you're going to attach your certificate of completion. Now, when we get that interim application, that adjustment, we're going to see your certificate of completion. That's going to notify our team that we have someone who is interested in the homeownership option. You don't have to call us and say, hey, I'm interested. What do I do? Here's what you do right here, right? And when we get your application and we see that the certificate of completion of your homeownership counseling is included, we're going to immediately know here's somebody that's interested in the homeownership option. Okay, that's what's going to be our notification of your interest in the homeownership assistance option. And then we'll begin to process with our office. Now, if you are brand new to the program, then there's nothing for you to really update, right? Because you just submitted all this. You just gotten your voucher. So what I want you to do, if you're newly admitted to the program, you haven't moved in anywhere, you haven't even, gotten that far, but you're interested in applying, then you're simply going to send an email to intake, INTAKE, intake at mobilehousing.org with your home ownership counseling certificate. You still need to go through the home ownership counseling. You still need to complete that. Okay, because there's a ton of information that's in those counseling sessions that's very, very important for you to understand. That's why HUD requires it. And we want you to go through that before you contact us saying, hey, how do I move forward? Why? Because in that home ownership counseling course, there's going to be information that you need to really consider whether or not you're absolutely ready to move forward. You may get into that course and realize, I might need 4 or 5 months, 6 months to get some things in order. I might need a year in order to get some things in order. Or you might say, I've gotten everything in order. I'm ready to move forward. The point is, you've got to educate yourself to learn what the home buying process is like so that you are knowledgeable and empowered when you go through this process. Okay? So those are the 1, 2, 3 steps that you need to do when you finish this information briefing to know what it is you need to do to move forward. All right? Now, if you're not eligible at this time, meaning you're actually not a part of the Housing Choice Voucher Program, right? You heard about this, you got online, and you go, ooh, okay, I'm not a part of the Housing Choice Voucher Program. I'm not a part of it at all. So what do? You're going to need to sign up on the HCV wait list when it opens. When it opens, you'll make sure that you sign up, right? And then when your application is pulled down, when your name comes up on our wait list, then we will send you information to apply, make application. Once you make application and you go through the process, you can let us know at that time that I am interested in taking advantage of the home ownership option. Okay? So, what happens after I have successfully been approved for the home ownership option? So let's suggest that you have taken the home ownership course, you've completed that, you submitted on Rent Cafe, which is the participant portal. You've gone there, okay? You have updated your application, you've attached that certificate of completion. We have determined that you indeed are eligible. Here's what's going to happen. You will receive a letter of eligibility to receive home ownership assistance from Mobile Housing Authority. That letter is going to let you know you're in. You can exercise your home ownership option because you are qualified. Okay, you've met all the requirements. There are going to be some federal forms that you have to complete as part of this process, granting us, Mobile Housing Authority, the ability to share your letter and other information with your selected lender or other programs that you may be applying through, like a down payment assistance program, right? There's information that they may need from us. Well, we're going to seek your permission to share that information. Those are the federal forms that we'll have you sign off on. So we're going to provide you with the letter of eligibility. We're going to have you sign off on these federal forms that grant us authority to share your information with the people that you have indicated, maybe a realtor, maybe your lender, maybe, like I said, the city of Mobile. Maybe you're going through them for down payment assistance and they need some information from us. Well, we can't just give away your information. We have to get your permission first, right? So that's what those federal forms are about. You'll sign off on those. That gives us the permission to share that information. And then you'll need to go through your normal home buying process, right? Which you'll find out about when you attend the home buying counseling courses, right? That includes needing to secure a mortgage from a mortgage lender or through another home buying program like the City of Mobile's HOPE program, as an example. Okay, so this is what will happen after you have been approved for the home ownership option. Now, I want you to keep in mind a couple of things. Whether you are a new admittance to our program or whether you're somebody who's already been on our program for the past 3 or 4 years. Point is, you are currently accessing and utilizing the rental assistance. Now, listen very closely to what I'm about to say. If you are approved for rental assistance, that does not stop just because you have been approved for the home ownership option. Let's use an example. Let's say you are in a property right now. We're sending half payment to your landlord every month. Let's say you've been in that property for 2 years, right? But you're interested in purchasing a home. And as you've listened to this presentation, you're going to follow through and do everything that I've indicated in this presentation. You get all the way up to this point where we are on the slides, where we're saying, ma'am, you're approved. Here's your letter of eligibility. Just because you received the letter of eligibility doesn't mean that somehow your rental assistance has stopped. It has not. We will continue to pay rental assistance for as long as you are renting a property. The letter of eligibility is like a pre-approval letter, right? So that now you can actually go to the lender, show them this is how much Mobile Housing Authority is going to assist with my mortgage once I actually find a home, once I'm actually approved for a mortgage, and once I actually close on the purchase of a new home. In other words, the home ownership assistance option doesn't actually kick in, doesn't actually begin until you've purchased a home. So if you get this home ownership approval, let's just say today, right? Let's say you've been in this process and you got your letter of eligibility today. This letter of eligibility just lets you know that if you happen to find a home, we've already approved you to move forward with exercising the home ownership option. It doesn't obligate you to do that. You may decide, hey, I know I'm good. I could go buying a home, but I'm not really wanting to do that right now. Or maybe I'm still under my lease agreement, right? So I don't want to just leave in the middle of my lease agreement, right? I may have 4 more months or 5 more months or 6 more months under my lease, and I can't just leave. The point is, it's an option. It's not a requirement. It's an option. It provides you, our participant, the knowledge and the information that you need to now move forward if you choose to purchase a home. Hopefully that makes sense and that's clear. It's not required that if you are approved under the home ownership option, that somehow you're going to lose your rental assistance. Your rental assistance will only convert to mortgage assistance once you actually have a mortgage. That only happens after you've actually purchased a home. So hopefully all that makes sense and gives you a bit of comfort to know just because you go through this process doesn't mean you're going to lose your rental assistance. Now, who are some of those HUD-approved housing counseling agencies? Here they are: Lifelines Counseling, the Housing Authority of the City of Pritchard, the Center for Fair Housing, and CCCS of Mobile. These are 4 of the HUD-approved housing counselors located in the Mobile area. This is where you're going to contact. You're going to reach out to one of these 4 agencies to find out when their home ownership classes begin and how you can register for those classes. They're going to tell you we do in-person live classes, or maybe they'll tell you we have an online option. Whatever their format for delivery of these classes, you'll have to call them or send an email to them or go to their website to find out, register for the class by whatever means you want to take it, right? And whatever means they offer it, and then attend those classes. And then complete those classes in order to receive your certificate of completion. So here are the HUD-approved housing counseling agencies. Now, let me talk about other home ownership or down payment assistance programs. What you've just heard, what we've just gone through, are the requirements to be eligible and to participate in the Mobile Housing Authority Housing Choice Voucher Home Ownership Option. That's all you've heard, and that's all we've discussed, because that's the one that we offer. The City of Mobile's HOPE program is a different program, okay? You will need to complete and meet all of their program requirements in order to participate in their program. Similar, the Mobile County and the City of Mobile also have down payment assistance programs. Those programs will have their own set of requirements. We want to make sure that this is clear for everyone. Our program requirements are what you have to meet and satisfy to be approved for our home ownership assistance option, to take advantage of that. Ours does not have anything to do with anybody else's. Sometimes we have families saying, oh, I already met their home ownership requirements, so I'm good with you too. That doesn't mean that. You have to meet each program's requirements in order to benefit from their assistance. Hopefully that makes sense. So if you're going to the City of Mobile's HOPE program, then you need to find out what their requirements are and make sure that you satisfactorily meet their requirements in order to participate and take advantage of what they offer. The same thing with the down payment assistance programs, whether it's through Mobile County or the City of Mobile, they may have separate requirements to access their down payment assistance. You'll have to meet, independent of what you do with us, you'll have to meet their program requirements to take advantage of their assistance. So hopefully that makes sense, and that's clear. So I'm going to just answer some frequently asked questions, go through some of the frequently asked questions, and then this will conclude my portion of the presentation. So question 1, if I am eligible, how much in assistance will I receive? Here's the answer. If you are currently receiving HAP assistance, meaning you're already on our program and you're receiving rental assistance, what we call HAP, Housing Assistance Payment Assistance, the homeownership option assistance will be approximately the same amount that you are receiving right now, in keeping with the homeownership option guidelines. So there's some different guidelines that we do when you exercise the homeownership option. Calculations are slightly different. We'll rework those calculations in keeping with the homeownership option guidelines to tell you how much in assistance you'll receive from us under the homeownership option. However, the general answer is that it's going to be about the same amount, okay, that you're receiving now under the rental assistance program. Question 2, will I continue to receive utility assistance? If you are currently receiving utility assistance, this will likely continue under the homeownership assistance option. Can't guarantee it because everybody's situation is a little different. But if you're currently receiving assistance, more than likely that will continue. Question 3, how will I know if I'm approved? Great. So you have done what we've said in this presentation, and now you ask question, well, how will I know if I'm approved? After you have submitted your interim application, remember, that's that little button that says report a change in the Rent Cafe participant portal, okay? So after you've submitted your interim application with the homeownership counseling certificate of completion, remember, we want you to attach the homeownership counseling certificate of completion, you will be contacted by a member from our team if additional information is needed. If you do not submit your homeownership counseling certificate of completion along with your application, we will not know that you are seeking participation in the homeownership assistance option. And we will simply process your interim application like we do all the others that we receive. You must include your homeownership certificate of completion in order for us and our team to know that you are requesting the homeownership assistance option, okay? How long will it take for you to hear from MHA? After you have submitted all the required information, processing times will vary depending upon the volume of submissions. However, our goal is to respond to you within 15 business days. Question 5 says, what happens after I receive my letter of eligibility from MHA for the homeownership assistance option? And here's the answer. You will continue through the rest of your home buying process, and MHA will be available to provide information to your realtor, lender, and others working with you through the home buying process. Now, and if you're asking, well, what is that process? And then that will tell you that is why we want you to attend the home ownership counseling, because that's where you will find out the rest of the process in home purchasing. Okay. So thank you so much for attending today's session. This will conclude our session. Thank you very much.